very much for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you all the guests for showing up.
Thank you, Jason. This couldn't be possible without 420 InSight. I appreciate them and our other sponsors at Harborside Health Center and Magical Butter. And at this time, we're going to turn it over to the studio audience and allow you guys to ask some questions.
I'm gonna get emotional about this. Jason introduced my son and I to CBD a year and a half ago, and for the first time in 17 years, he slept all night, which is huge. He would only sleep a couple hours at a time, and he's been doing fantastic. So thank you for coming into our life, and thank you, Tanya, for introducing us to Jason. But one thing that I've noticed with him being on this is we are a single-family income, and it's not cheap. Where do you go to get help with this stuff for your child?
I'm working on it, but right now in Berkeley, and I'm sure, are you taking any more pictures?
We've got over 100 people in our waiting room.
I have someone actually here that might be able to help you out too.
Okay.
I'll introduce you to him and we'll get it.
I do have a few friends that also prepare this for themselves. Is there somewhere locally that they can go to get it tested to find out what the levels are?
The best place is actually the lab that he's at, Steeple in Oakland.
Okay.
CME afterwards, I'll give you a card, and this is just, since the study's done, we'll just go ahead and test it for you. I can't promise everybody will go for, but you do need to get it tested. Unfortunately, without federal regulation, we are so spoiled with federal regulation guaranteeing us a certain minimum level of safety, a certain minimum level of quality. And in this unregulated cannabis market, the most horrible thing about it to me, the tragedy is, we don't have any of that continuity. It's just terrible. We don't have continuity of source for people who get the medicine they need. They find something that works, a certain strain, the next day it's gone, no continuity of source. We don't have any reliability or confidence for that. I'm very spoiled. I don't give anything to patients that I haven't tested in my lab first anymore. I've gotten that spoiled. I have the luxury of that, which most people don't. We need more labs. We need those labs better certified so that they're all getting the same sort of numbers. We need better continuity of source. That's why we flooded the market with ACDC. I mean, I had patients just could not find CBD, and the only thing I could think of to do was just flood the market. Some growers were actually angry about that. They wanted to make $3,500 a kilo, and I had a patient whose parents in the first year had to spend $17,000 on CBD, and I just got fed up. You know, that's not the way life should be.
I have another question.
Let me just, may I?
Go ahead.
Because I have a very straightforward answer to this. Insist when you go to a dispensary, say, I want to see the cannabis, the medicines that have been tested. And you say, I don't want to just know what the THC and CBD is. I want to see test results. And the more that people start asking for this and demanding it, because when we started testing back in the olden days, people thought we were out of our minds. They thought it was hocus pocus. They thought it was just an excuse to make money at a lab. Sure. I'll give you an example. We had because we are a pretty large dispensary, we have a patient who brought us, who grew, her son is a brain cancer survivor. He's in remission. We've been treating him for years. She decided, because she couldn't afford it, she was going to grow ACDC. So she went to a reliable source that I will not mention at this point and bought 40 clones of the plant to grow. And we, of course, make the agreement that anyone that grows, we just make their medicine for them. We just give them their medicine. Well, she brought it to us, and because they knew the source and they knew it was ACDC, we were 100% confident making the oil out of this large quantity of a couple pounds before we tested the flower, because we knew the mother plants. We send it to Steep Hill Hayland. They test it, and there is 622 milligrams per gram, or 62.2% THC, and 0 CBD. 0. And now, thank God it was tested. So if you buy medicines anywhere or anything, you make sure that anyone you get it from, because not everybody can make their own medicine or grow their own plants. If you'll grow a plant, and you'll donate it to an oil maker, they'll make you your oil as long as you let them have the extra. That's pretty standard in the industry. So there's a ways around it. There's different dispensaries give freebies for people that are financially, there's AIDS organizations that help with people that have HIV/AIDS. There's a lot of organizations out there. And I plug, but UnitedPatientsGroup.com has a lot of those resources.
Thank you
if
so
wanna
much,
go there.
Mark.
Hi, yes. Can you recommend a strain for 2 ailments? One, rheumatoid arthritis. The second would be, to my husband, it was like an SI joint fusion, pain down in L5.
I would, we'll both go at this one, because I think.
You go ahead.
I've seen arthritis, a few different things. For sure, I would get a topical. I would get a topical just to help out with the pain, but also what I've seen with arthritis is I've seen coconut oil, a high CBD, 20-to-1. I've seen that work for one lady. I've seen a lady that had her hands that were stiff when we first gave it to her, and she took one bite, and half an hour later, her hands, she said they're 90% better.
Okay, let me just real quickly. We have a big patient intake that we do, and one of the reasons that we're able to, and I say we, I mean the people that are practitioners in this, to target strains, more particularly diseases, is we look at disease holistically. A person who has rheumatoid arthritis has an autoimmune disease. So coming at that as a starting point, what is that? Well, that's inflammation. That starts breaking down. What does that mean and what's happening mechanically in the body? And if you start looking at disease that way, what's happening systemically? Does the person also have issues with liver where they're not getting toxins going out? All these sorts of things from their medical, you can figure out a lot easier how to dose them and which strains to get. Somebody that has autoimmune disease, CBD is amazing. THC, though, is going to activate those CB1 receptor sites in the brain that will help to block some of the pain, help to trigger all the things that happen in the body that make a person have an anandamide sense of bliss. I don't have the knowledge to tell you the path, and it doesn't matter. Just so that you know, if you're dealing with inflammation, you want to approach it that way and look at the whole body and not just a disease that people are labeled with, because then you're just attacking the symptoms.
Thank you. We're going to have to wrap things up. I'd like to say thank you to our panelists here, Dr. Mina and Mr. Martin Lee, Mara Gordon, Jason David, and the Reverend Dr. Kyman.
If they have any more questions afterwards.
After we finish up, we'll do a couple more questions when we close out.
He's going to do it.
Yes, we're going to do that when we close out, ma'am. Thank you. We'd like to thank 420 InSight. Go sign up and get your information from there. A lot of great information tonight. Plethora, just not to be Googling all night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.